Coming up on this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society, we choose between Pokemon Let's Go Mark and Pokemon Let's Go Patrick. It's dangerous to go alone, so the Nintendo Cartridge Society goes with ya. Welcome to Nintendo Cartridge Society. My name is Patrick Ellers. I'm joined, as always, by my co-host, Mark Mitchell. We've got a good show for you today, jam-packed. We're going to be talking about the news from the week, including the Pokemon Switch reveal and a bunch of games that we've been playing this week. And then on Thursday, we're going to be determining who the best Pokemon starter is with comedian Oscar Montoya. So come back for that. But Mark, in the meantime, how are you?
I'm doing great. Speaking of Oscar Montoya, he's the host of the podcast Inside the Disney Vault.
Yes.
And I was actually a guest on Inside the Disney Vault.
And what did you discuss, Mark?
Atlantis, The Lost Empire, Disney's animated film from 2001, I believe.
A nearly forgotten classic?
Well, listen and find out. But yeah, you should, if you like hearing me geek out about Nintendo stuff, you will potentially love hearing me geek out about Disney-related things. And yeah, it's a lot of fun. You should check it out.
I would say that you are probably as big a Disney geek as you are a Nintendo geek, right?
Yes, The depths to which I can fall know no bounds.
Within those two very specific realms, I would say. Nintendo and Disney. Mark, before we really get started here, we've got to ask for help.
Mm-hmm.
We would love for you, dear listener, to rate and review us on Apple Podcasts. That helps us out tremendously. And big thanks to everyone who has done it already. Special thank you to Holy Warrior 037, Ren Swanson, and Lincoln Shots for all leaving us 5-star reviews this week.
That's right. You answered the call.
You answered, and you, look, heroes! Mark, they're heroes!
Heroes all. You know, we've had 49 heroes.
Yes.
Write us reviews on the U.S. Apple Podcast Store. And that means we're one away from our golden hero.
So do you think that we've gotten one review from someone in 49 of the 50 states and we're just missing one?
I think so.
What state do you think we're missing?
Rhode Island.
Okay, so if you're in Rhode Island and you're listening to this podcast, it is your time to write us a review.
And if you're not in Rhode Island and you're listening to this podcast, do it anyways, because we can't rely on Rhode Island because they've waited 49 reviews.
No, they've been flaking for like a year and a half. It's too much. We can't rely on them. Great. Also, other things you can do, you can follow us on social media. On Twitter, I'm at Patrick_Ellers. Mark is at MK Mitchell. The show is at NinCart Society. We are also on Facebook, and that page is just Nintendo Cartridge Society. Mark, next week is E3.
What?
So heads up, we're going to do a slightly different schedule next week because Nintendo's presentation is on Tuesday morning. Normally, we post a show on Tuesday morning, but we're going to wait until that is done, and then we will record a conversation about it. So we should be seeing an episode up on Wednesday, we're thinking?
Yeah, and we're going to do one like mega episode. So instead of having an episode on Tuesday and an episode on Thursday, next week we will have one very special E3 show on Wednesday. So nothing will make sense next week.
That's right. Everything will be different, but you'll love all of it. We'll love all of it.
It's E3, baby.
It's E3, baby. Are you excited? Mark, I'm excited.
I'm very excited.
I'm going to E3 this year. I'm going to be on the show floor. So if anyone wants, if you have any special requests for me,
or if anybody else is going to be there.
Yeah, for sure. Shoot us an email, Nintendo Cartridge Society
at gmail.com.
Mark, we played a ton of games this week, so let's get into the games we've been playing. All right, first things first, we got together this weekend and played a little West of Loathing, which is the sort of stick figure Western comedy RPG. It's got some weird mechanics. Well, I don't even know if they're weird mechanics. Mark, how would you describe this game?
It's a little RPG, a little text adventure, a little point and click adventure. It's strange.
Yes. It is more strange than it is funny, right?
Yeah.
Yes. So the writing in this game is like clearly what you're there for, right? And because the graphics are all very simple presentation.
Well done for what they are.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but very simple presentation. And like there are just a couple things that it seems like the writers of the game sort of like fixate on, and they're like, "This is a weird thing. We're going to present it over and over again." Like
Yeah, I would say the game is more like amusing rather than laugh out loud funny. I think they're going for a kind of wow, I just Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy type vibe.
that's
Where
interesting. Yeah.
where you're like reading it and you're like, "Oh, that's very clever." It's not making me like physically laugh out loud.
Right, but I just have this general feeling of funniness
Yes.
about. Yeah, it felt a lot like dinosaur comics to me, where it's like it's so like insular in its nonsense, that like you're just in this world of old west nonsense, and it's fun and funny, but like I'm never gonna like take a screenshot of it and share it with someone to be like, look how funny this is, because it's only like medium funny, but it's medium funny the whole time you're playing it. And so we played that for maybe like 3-4 hours on Sunday. It's fun. I'm trying to figure out if I want to get back to it. Because like the game has a lot of interesting systems, or like there are stats in there that aren't your normal like RPG stats. And I can't tell whether like I like that because they're different, or if it's like just different enough that I'm like, I don't know what grit is.
The other thing I can't tell is if we have seen everything that this game has to offer.
Great, yeah, great point.
Because we're like 3 or 4 hours in. I don't know how long the game is. I don't know if at some point there's going to be a reveal of like more options, more information. Because if there it doesn't seem like there's going to be.
Yeah, no,
It kind of seems like we have, but that also seems impossible.
that we've experienced all the game has to offer.
Yeah.
I don't know. It seems about right. It's a $10 download, or it's an $11 download. So it's not going to offer like untold hours of play or anything like that.
Yeah, that's true.
We also played Johnny Turbo's Arcade, Joe and Mac, aka Caveman Ninja. PU. So this was I mentioned this game last week as it was coming out. And I realized at that time that I have only ever read the preview for this in Nintendo Power and was obsessed with it for that reason. And actually playing the game, like, it is a bad co-op caveman beat 'em up.
It's kind of everything I hate about arcade games.
Yeah.
Like, this is the perfect way to experience it because you're pumping in virtual quarters rather than real money. But yeah, it's one of those games where it's like, it's one of those arcade games where you are just getting spammed with enemies.
Yeah, just enemies all over the place, and you and your caveman buddy are throwing axes, and occasionally you get like power-ups, so you're throwing other things. But like you don't hold on to those power-ups for very long because you die all the time.
Yeah, and it doesn't even seem possible that there's like a way to make it through the game through strategy.
Right,
It's
or
just
to like get
complete
good at
spamming.
it.
Yeah.
So not recommended on this. Also, for whatever reason, it looked to me like this game was $9 on the eShop, and I was like, oh, I just spent $11. I'm gonna spend this other $9, make it an even 20, but it's $7.99. So now I've got this extra $1.01 sitting around. I don't know what to do with. I'm gonna apply it towards something. I don't know what.
I also picked up Yoku's Island Express. We talked about it a little bit last week. It's a 2D platformer, but the platforming mechanics are pinball.
Okay, so you are a ball?
You are a little dung beetle.
Okay.
And you are rolling around on a ball of not dung, but you're like rolling around on a ball. Your job is to deliver mail on this island, and you're also like helping people out and kind of solving the curse of the island. So we talked about neither of us really love the like the mechanics of pinball,
Yeah.
and especially virtual pinball. And my hope was that wrapped up in like or being balanced out by platforming mechanics, that the pinball stuff like wouldn't bother me, and it turns out that that is not working for me.
Oh no. Does it make it more frustrating, do you think?
Yeah, for
Yeah.
me it does.
can,
Because it's like the things I don't like about pinball, and it just makes platforming frustrating. like trying to get through levels is frustrating to me.
Yeah, I mean, because if it were just straight up platforming, like you could get up to any ledge you want to. I've seen you platform. You know how to platform. So maybe this is just a game for people who don't know how to platform but do know how to pinball.
Yeah, and so I think aesthetically, like presentation wise, this
Yeah.
game is really well done. It's very cute. The art is beautiful. The music is nice. It kind of reminds me of Rayman Origins a little
Okay.
bit. That same sort of art style.
Yeah,
Um,
it's a very pretty art style.
yeah, it looks great. I can see how this game is really fun,
Mhm.
but it's definitely it's not for me.
It's
I just
not.
found it
It's
more frustrating than fun.
it's not Mark fun.
Uh-huh.
No Mark fun. I have also been playing the Street Fighter 30th Anniversary collection.
But
I will concede that I am not playing it on Switch. I got it on PlayStation 4, and I did that because I have 2 fight sticks for that thing. That's my fighting game home. That's where I'm going to play Street Fighter games for the most part. And I love it. I love it. I mean, I mean, it's an arcade collection.
is there one in particular that you've been playing?
I've been playing the first versions of like the 3 main games. So, the original Street Fighter Alpha, the original Street Fighter 3, and just plain old vanilla Street Fighter 2. And I realized that I haven't seen like the arcade version of Street Fighter 2 since, I was like 10 years old camping with my dad, and like our campsite would get rained out and we had to like spend the day at an arcade instead of like sit whatever you do when you're camping with your dad. I don't know what one does. We always got rained out. um and so like I have a lot of memories of hanging out in arcades with him, and he probably hated it and was bored. But that's when I was talking to like people who were much older than me and probably shouldn't have been conversing with a 10-year-old telling me how to do like Chun-Li's moves or whatever. So it's been an awesome nostalgia trip for me, and I really really like it. I've heard that there are some problems with the online versions of the games on Switch, but I haven't experienced any of that on the PlayStation. So I mean, it's such a tempting like pick up and like take it with you anywhere, throw it down, and have 2 people play with the split Joy Cons. But like the sort of stability of being able to play those games online is just too cool. One thing to caution against is an arcade collection, so just don't expect there to be a training mode. Really anything. It's just arcade mode. You can't adjust the difficulty. If it's too hard, that's tough. Um, and yeah, that's it. It is just an arcade experience, but it's 12 arcade experiences, so it's a great game. And if you like Street Fighter at all, like pick it up on something.
This past weekend was also the Mario Tennis Aces demo / online tournament, pre-launch online tournament.
Yeah, and we both got a chance to play this one.
Mm-hmm.
Mark, why don't you start?
Sure. I loved the tutorial. Was having a blast. Got online and was just destroyed left and right.
What was your win-loss ratio in the end? Do you know?
Oh man, I don't even know. I think I won maybe twice out of like 15 games or something.
So at the end of that, you're deciding game not for you.
No, so here's the thing is I am still interested in it. I just don't think I would go online.
Sure.
Right, because it's supposed to have like a fairly I think I'm gonna wait for reviews, see how robust the story mode is.
Yeah.
Because I mean I paid $60 for Kirby, so
Yeah.
it's
right.
a low bar for robustness.
Robustitude. I'm gonna jump in right here. I really liked the online, and ended up playing it a ton, like in several different play sessions throughout the weekend. I never won a tournament, but by the end of it, I was probably like 3 wins to 1 loss. And I unlocked all the characters, and felt like I had a real solid understanding of like how the game was played, and like when and how to use the special abilities. And just the more I played it, the more it like rewarded me with like sort of understanding the intricacies of that. And like it's fun to like remember how like the strategy of normal tennis and like lay that over the strategy of Mario Tennis, cuz like in a normal tennis game, and it works surprisingly well in Mario Tennis Aces, that like people will run like back to the middle of the court after returning something, anticipating that you're going to try to like send them back in the opposite direction. But if you hit the ball right back to where they were, 9 times out of 10 they're already running away from where they were. So I love this, and I'm really excited for this game to come out. It's like 3 weeks, something like that. Yeah, I'm excited to see what the story mode is. But even if the story mode is garbage, I'm gonna be happy to hop on and play online. All right, that's what we've been playing this week. Let's get into the new releases and what we might be playing next week.
All right, today, June 5th, Blaze Blue Cross Tag Battle is out.
Yep.
Happy Birthdays is out. We looked this up before we started recording.
Happy Birthdays, of course. Well, let's not blow past Blaze Blue Tag Battle.
Sure.
We talked about it a little bit when the demo was available on the Switch eShop. It's just a crazy smash 'em up
Fighting
crossover game, yeah. Which I found to be like too
incomprehensible.
Yes, it's too stimulating. There's just too much on screen at any given time. The background disappears almost immediately as it just turns into like whirring lights, and you're doing combos. So as a big fighting game guy, I'm gonna skip this one. But Happy Birthdays is a game from the
creator,
yes.
The original creator of Harvest Moon,
right? Which is a game that we like, though it has been supplanted in Mark's heart by Stardew Valley, which I saw is not on your list of games that you played this week.
I played it. I just figured we didn't have time.
So what Happy Birthdays, it looks like...
It's like Spore
yeah.
or Populous with the art style of like Dragon Quest Builders, which means Minecraft, which,
just QB things. Yeah. Is this of interest to you, or what are you thinking here?
No, I don't know. No.
All right.
The genre is like outside of my wheelhouse.
Yeah.
And then on June 6th, Shape of the World and Grid Retro Enhanced.
Oscar-winning film, Shape of the World.
Then on June 7th, we have Banner Saga 2.
Oh, man, I did not play through Banner Saga 1 to get to Banner Saga 2. I tried.
A Magical High School Girl. The Neo Geo game is Writing Hero. And then on Friday...
hold on. There's a Thursday release that I want to talk about.
Oh,
briefly.
sure, yeah.
Flashback, which is the original Flashback that appeared on like Genesis and Super Nintendo, is coming out on Switch. It's the same game. It's the sound has been remastered or something like that, and there are tutorials and stuff. It's just Flashback. Mark, have you ever played Flashback?
No.
It's one of these weird like platforming like adventure games where like you're just sort of like you wake up on an alien planet and you have to like discover who you are, and weird stuff happens to you. And it's one of those games where like my friends and I talked about like, oh yeah, you need to get, oh yeah, like if you pick up the key over here, it works in this. And I don't know, it was a very cool game. Or at least I remember it being a very cool game when I was 12. I'm not going to vouch for it now, because I think it's probably slow and borderline unplayable.
And you're having memories of Johnny Turbo's Arcade, Joe and Mac, aka Caveman Ninja.
Didn't pan out. But my memories of Street Fighter 2 did pan out. So, it's you can't trust nostalgia, but you can't not trust nostalgia.
And then on June 8th, Sushi Striker: The Way of Shushido is out on 3DS and Switch. And guess what?
Yes.
It really is $50. And to that I say, no thank you.
No thank you. It is really $50 on Switch. On 3DS it is $40.
Which, again,
is too much. It's too much on both counts. When that bad boy drops down to 20, then maybe again to 10, I'd say that's a fair price point. I'll pick that game up for $10. All right, Mark, any of those strike your fancy? You gonna pick up anything this week, do you think?
No.
Great. Okay, let's close out the segment. Now it's time for a regular segment on our show. It's time for 433. In 1952, American composer John Cage wrote a piece called 433, wherein a performer or a group of performers didn't play their instruments for 4 minutes and 33 seconds. For the purposes of this show, our instruments are talking about Nintendo. So, for the duration of one performance of 433, Mark and I will talk about something not at all Nintendo related, thus fulfilling the contract of the piece. Mark, I wanted to talk about the Pony Express. It is weirdly relevant to the games we've been playing this week because, you know, the Old West is obviously the setting of West of Loathing, and Yoku's Island Express, you are like a dung beetle express. And I mentioned the Pony Express yesterday when we were hanging out, and you said I was like, isn't it weird that we all know about the Pony Express? And you offered an explanation for why that is.
Because of the hit Kevin Costner film,
The Postman? Okay, all right. Now, come on. Have you seen The Postman?
No.
Okay, neither have I. I'm aware of its existence, of course, but I have not seen it. The Pony Express, the reason I think it's weird that we all know about it is that it was only in operation for 18 months until it was shut down by the Telegraph. Because you didn't need to send people on horseback all the way across the country to deliver letters anymore. But like, don't you feel like it was something that was either like taught to you or presented to you as like, this was a way of life in the American West?
Yeah.
And like a normal part of your American
Yeah, they
history.
leave out the part that it was only in operation for a year and a half.
Yeah, I mean, like, Nintendo was manufacturing the Virtual Boy for longer than the Pony Express was in operation.
Yeah, I guess there is something that's very like it really captures the spirit of the American West.
Yeah, but why? Like, there's
I don't know. We've like mythologized it.
We have, for sure. And like, you know, people and horses died delivering letters. So I guess there is like some element of heroism, but like, is it really heroism when like the company is just riding these people to their deaths, right? Like, no one is altruistically being like, yeah, I'll do this. People had no choice.
Are there a lot of like, is there a lot of young adult fiction around the Pony Express?
That could be. That there's like a I don't even know what it would be. Something like akin to the Boxcar Children.
Well, even if it's not a series, I guess I just feel like maybe the reason why it's taught in like elementary school so much is, or at least like mentioned in elementary school so much,
Yeah.
is that it's maybe seems like an approachable and interesting way to explain to people, to children,
Like
that
the West.
we didn't
Yeah.
have like mailmen
Oh,
like
that's
come to your house. Somebody had to ride a horse from like town to town, you know, from like New York City to wherever.
Sacramento.
You're right.
I also think that there were a lot of like Looney Tunes cartoons about the Pony Express.
Mm-hmm.
Or like that's just like a I guess maybe there's a clear goal there. Like, deliver the letter and they deliver it no matter what.
Well, and also, I mean, to that point, the Looney Tunes were at the height of their popularity around the same time that Westerns as a genre in general were
Yeah,
at the
that's a
height of
good
its
point.
popularity. So maybe that's just one, like, well, I guess we'll never know.
I guess we will never know. We were accompanied today by what are these guys?
Soft Day.
By Soft Day. All right, Mark, let's get into the news.
All right. You wanted it. I wanted it. The whole world demanded it. And finally, the Pokemon Company and Game Freak
Yes.
announced information about the Pokemon games that are coming to Switch in 2018.
Yay.
What
games are those, Mark?
Okay, so first of all,
Yes.
there was Pokemon Quest, which is a free-to-start game. It's like a mobile game that is on Switch now and will also be on phones later this month.
Yeah, and so you have been playing a little bit of Pokemon Quest,
I mean,
right?
to say that I played it is a little bit of an overstatement because I went through like the first tutorials, and I was like, oh, this game is not for me. And so then I was done.
So what was your experience of it? Like, what is that tutorial? I haven't turned it on at all.
Okay, so Pokemon Quest, you are on this island called
Tumblecube.
Tumblecube, and so all the Pokemons and everything, they kind of have that, again, like Minecraft, Dragon Quest Builders sort of like look to them.
They're boxy.
Yeah, they're boxy. They're not like as low res as Minecraft.
Right.
And
Burn Minecraft.
it's an aesthetic choice. Like it's and I don't even know how to explain it. You like cook food and the food attracts Pokemon, and then you send them out on quests, which are basically just like auto battles, so they'll like run around and run into other Pokemon and then they attack those Pokemon, and there are prompts that you can do if you want, like special moves that are on cooldown timers. And then for completing those and while you're attacking other Pokemon, you gather resources, and then you take the resources back to your like camp, cook some more food that attracts more Pokemon.
And you just continue this
yeah,
cycle
rinse
forever.
and repeat. Yes.
Yeah. So you think you say not worth your time?
Yeah, I mean, I don't really play a lot of mobile games. You know, I've never been like a Candy Crush person. Even Nintendo's games, I will play for a little bit, but I always just like fall away. It's just not how I use my phone.
Yeah.
And this is very much a mobile game, so it's not bad. It seems good for what for what it's trying to do. It's just totally not for me.
Right. And it's not like totally dissimilar from, games like Pokemon Rumble. Is another like mobile game that was also on 3DS. That's just like, kind of just a Pokemon time waster. And this game features the original, 150 Pokemon, so like it's clearly a vein that they're mining right now. And yeah, this is just one of those weird sort of like also rans where it's like, yeah, this is another game we have.
I mean, we say also rans, but it's already been downloaded over 1 million times on the Switch.
Look, for the Pokemon company, that is
trash.
Yeah, they don't care. Oh, 1 million?
But the big headline event, the thing we were all waiting for, is Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Pokemon Let's Go Eevee were revealed, and they come out on Switch this year on November 16th.
Yeah, and this is basically just confirming a lot of the rumored stuff that we had been hearing about for a while, right?
Yeah,
I guess it's only been like a week or two.
Yeah, but it feels
while.
like forever.
Yeah.
Since like these rumors started gaining traction. But yeah, so they are not really remakes, but they are set in the Kanto region. They follow seemingly like a similar story to Pokemon Yellow. Kind of the cool thing about it is that it has co-op. So it has like drop in, drop out co-op. It can be the entire game can be played with one Joy-Con.
And in the videos, it looks like they're holding the Joy-Con strangely.
Well, I mean, they're
holding it vertically.
They're holding it vertically instead of sideways.
Yeah.
Which I think makes sense because the other thing that Pokemon Let's Go is doing is kind of integrating ideas from Pokemon Go.
Yes.
Which was part of the rumor. So instead of battling wild Pokemon, you catch them like you do in Pokemon Go, where you see the Pokemon and like a circle
throw a ball
is closing in, and then you like throw a ball. In this case, instead of tapping on the screen, you would use the Joy-Con.
Right.
You know, like
do a throw motion.
Yeah, like
with
flick
it.
the Joy-Con. And you'll be able to like take Pokemon from Pokemon Go and bring them into the game. Basically what they're saying is that this is part of the core series, but is also kind of a like its own new thing.
It feels disingenuous to me to call it a core Pokemon game.
I agree.
Just because like it's not introducing any new Pokemon, and it's not
well, it is introducing one new mystery Pokemon.
Yeah, okay, great.
Oh, but that's
as a reward for transferring a Pokemon from Go, or
no? I guess it's unclear at this point.
Sure.
But that is a good point that it is just the original 151 Pokemon from the Kanto region.
Plus one.
Plus one. They did say there would also be some like Alola forms in there. Yeah, I don't know.
Did we mention the Pokeball controller yet?
No, we have not mentioned the Pokeball controller.
So the game has an option to use a brand new controller, which is just a Pokeball. It looks like it's got a thumbstick on the front and like a button in back.
I mean, I guess I'm assuming that it'll have more than one button. That it'll have like I guess, as many buttons as you would need.
Sure. But I mean, I think it is possible that this is a 1 or 2 button game.
Oh,
That
yeah,
just, I
yeah.
mean, if you think back to Pokemon Yellow, the only inputs you really had for that were, the direction buttons and then A and B. Um, and if a lot of the capture mechanic in this is like throwing balls, throwing Pokeballs, you're doing that through motion controls.
Yeah, I mean, that's a good point. I'm trying to think back to Sun and Moon, and
Mhm.
you didn't really need to use anything other than like either the D-pad or the circle pad, and then the face buttons.
Yeah, and I mean, you could really play Sun and Moon with just like D-pad and the touchscreen too. So like, the Pokemon Company has been, and look at Pokemon Go itself. There are no buttons because it's a touchscreen game. So yeah, and the this Pokeball controller can be used on both Pokemon Go and Pokemon Let's Go. Um, and it can also, you can transfer a Pokemon to the ball, and then it like travels with you out in the real world. And in the video that they shared showed, someone had like a Pikachu in there, and they like rubbed it, and it went like Pikachu.
Yeah.
So who knows? Can it make the sounds of like all the Pokemon? Like,
Yeah,
can
maybe.
it do everything? um, that is so weird. It's all so weird.
Yeah, I am kind of digging this.
Okay.
I know that Pokemon is already kind of a baby's first Pokemon or baby's first RPG in a
Yeah.
lot of ways, but
This feels like baby's first Pokemon almost.
yes,
Yeah.
and like playing through Sun and Moon, there are a lot. It's like I don't want to do random battles.
Yeah.
And
A
look for
lot of
like
times.
random
Yeah.
Pokemon. Like, do not care. Do not want to do that. That was one of the things that I did not enjoy about playing through Sun and Moon. This gets rid of random battles. You see the Pokemon running around on the grass, and then
If you want them, you go for them.
you walk over to it. There's no battle. There's just like the catch mechanic. There are battles still in the game. Like other rival trainers. There's still online functionality. Like there is a lot of stuff that makes a Pokemon game, but they have also kind of like stripped it down and made it like a kinder, gentler, more like Pokemon Go
Yeah.
Pokemon experience.
Yeah. So you're digging it. You're excited. You're gonna pick it up and play.
Yeah,
It?
I think I am. I think I am gonna pick it up. I like the idea of co-op. I
Mhm.
think
I like
that's
the idea of
great. Like
co-op,
drop
too.
in, drop out. You can do battles together. You can capture together. Like, I love it. I am. I'm super into it.
I'm still sort of tentative about it, just because like, I don't know. It doesn't. There are. It does. You're right that like I don't. I'm not really interested in random encounters or anything like that. Um, but like the Pokemon Go experience seemed like shallow to me. Um, and I just worry about this feeling like that, but like just in the world of Pokemon Yellow, which I played Red or Blue. I can't remember which one now. Um, but I never actually played Yellow. I don't have like an affinity for the anime or anything like that. So I feel like there's part of this game that's maybe not totally for me. But also that controller is so neat that like I don't know, that part of it does intrigue me.
Well, I wonder if you'll be able to buy that controller and then use it in late 2019 because
What's happening in 2019,
well,
Mark?
almost to try to it feels like ward off any
Yes.
worries or like about the future of Pokemon. They made a uncharacteristic announcement, I would say, by putting it out there up front that in late 2019, a core Pokemon game that follows in the footsteps of X and Y and Sun and Moon will be coming to the Switch.
Right. The our Gen 8 is coming. Like we are not stopping here. This is not the end of the Pokemon train. It's not going to be Go Forever. Although Pokemon Go Forever would be a good name for a game. Let's circle back around to that later. So this is nice. I like just having a little bit the assurance that like this is not what Pokemon on Switch has to look like. This is not the only thing that it looks like. And so it's just another thing to look forward to in 2019.
Yeah. It's crazy that Pokemon has become like a yearly franchise and is as huge as it is.
Yeah, yeah, and every year, every year it's a huge franchise and a huge deal. Although I guess this last year it wasn't that with Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon.
I think the game still sold like 5 million
That's
copies or
probably
something.
true.
Trash.
Garbage numbers. And then if you love us talking about Pokemon, we are doing more of this on Thursday when we determine who the best starter is.
Yeah, so come back for that.
Mm-hmm.
Nintendo has updated the Switch eShop as part of an effort to enhance discoverability. So pretty much all of the stuff that used to be there is still there, but they've added a featured section that highlights new releases, games you might have missed, and potentially upcoming releases.
Yeah, and there are also a few other like little tweaks to it, like games on sale is now called Great Deals, and the bestseller list the list itself is longer, right?
Right, I think they have like 30 games instead of the
15 or
15 that
20
they
it was
had before.
And you can also sort it by all games or just download only. So it's the shop is becoming a little bit more dynamic of a place. There didn't seem to me to be too much of like a rhyme or reason to like what was featured.
No, one thing that I think would be nice, and I think I saw online that somebody said at least one of the European stores is doing this. It had little blurbs that basically like explained why it was featured.
Yeah, why is a game? Because like the featured right now, you go and it's like
Just
Xenoblade.
logos.
It's like why am I? I mean, thank you for presenting me with something and saying like, how about this? But like, pitch me on it.
Yeah, just a tiny bit of information would be helpful. Also, somebody at Nintendo is obviously a listener of this show because in the coming soon section, the games are now listed as having estimated release dates instead of it before it just said like release and then the date.
Right.
Which, 4 times out of 10.
Not actually the case. Games get delayed or pushed or whatever all the time.
Especially
on
with
this
like indie games,
Yeah.
seemingly. GameCube styles controller are probably coming to Switch. Designs have surfaced for a controller from Power a company that has been producing wired Pro controllers with Mario designs on them. There's no official word from Nintendo, but these appear to be officially licensed.
Mm-hmm.
This has got to be because Melee Babies refuse to play Smash with any other controller, right?
Melee Babies.
Melee Babies will make your dreams come true.
Yeah, it's got to be Melee Babies. No, I mean, come on, it's when a Smash game comes out, they have to let you play with.
Yeah, but like at some point we've got to move past that, right? And
do we?
Yeah,
I feel like this solidifies it. I feel like this solidifies it that GameCube controllers will always come back for Switch. Always.
Yeah, you're right. No, every Nintendo platform.
Yep.
From now until the end of time, we'll have to have GameCube controllers. Let's see. I lost my place. Hold on, just 1 second. Okay, here we go. During our E3 predictions episode, I said I didn't think EA would be publishing any more games for Switch, and that like discounted the possibility of FIFA 19 coming to the system. But I regret to inform you, Patrick was wrong.
Wait a minute.
It is coming.
Hold on. That was not my prediction.
Yeah, all right. I was wrong. The game's producer confirmed the game would be coming to Switch this year. It once again will be running on a custom engine, not Frostbite, but many engine improvements are promised.
So what they had worked on for the previous FIFA, they are applying to all of that knowledge and building on it and having some sort of I think EA has actually decided like this is something that we need to spend time on and actually figure out. We can't just put out like an awful version of FIFA and expect people to flock to it. So I guess good on them for like sticking to it.
Marketing materials have also revealed that NBA 2K19 will be releasing on Switch again this year. And then with E3 only 1 week away, the rumors and potential leaks have been flooding in.
Woo!
An image originating on 4chan that purports to be part of the setup for Nintendo's E3 booth potentially leaks some big announcements from the show.
So just a little something on like the quality of this leak. Obviously, there are fake leaks all over the place of people just like posting, made up slides or made up like lists of things. But this one is pretty, reasonably reported on and looks real-ish. But still, we're in the rumor zone right now.
Right. So Fortnite
Fortnite.
is apparently coming to Switch. This Fortnite for Switch was also rated by the South Korean ratings board. So
So
this
that
one
one's
seems
almost certainly coming.
pretty good.
Right.
Overcooked 2.
Overcooked 2. That's exciting. The original Overcooked was one of my favorite games on Switch. It's just a great game.
And I don't think has ever been off like the best sellers list since it was released.
It's so good and so fun. And even if this game is just like, I mean, what else could it be but like more Overcooked, more recipes, more crazy cats and robots and stuff, cooking in volcanoes? Like, give it to me.
Paladins is apparently coming to Switch, kind of like a Overwatch-esque hero shooter.
Okay.
Dragon Ball Fighters.
I so that's kind of cool, right?
Yeah.
Because that game caused a pretty big, or people were excited about it. It came out earlier this year on other platforms like January, February, sometime in there, and is the one that looks like a Dragon Ball Z cartoon, but is a fighting game.
The Xenoverse game, or whichever one has been released on Switch,
Xenoverse 2.
was a very like consistent seller in Japan. So I think this makes a lot of sense. Also, sorry, did you?
Oh, I was just gonna say, I hope it looks as good on Switch as it does on the other platforms, because it looks great.
It looks really cool,
like uncanny. You know, it's you play a bunch of games or like see a bunch of games that people say like, oh, it looks like a cartoon or whatever. This looks weirdly. They did such a good job of making it look like the actual anime.
And then the last image on the leak, or the last title on the leak, was a game called Killer Queen Black.
Is this Killer Queen? Are you familiar with the arcade game Killer Queen?
So it seems like it presumably is a Switch version of that arcade, like kind of like an indie arcade game, Killer Queen.
So Killer Queen is it's a 2 arcade cabinet game that is 5-player co-op, but versus another team of 5 players, where you're like insects or something, trying like all working together towards one goal, and one of your players is the queen, and the rest of them are like drones that can be upgraded to warriors or whatever, and you're all just on one giant map trying to achieve different goals against each other. And it is like an indie darling, like competitive scene. Also darling, I guess I'll use the same word twice. And like it's super cool if that's what this is, that it would be coming to Switch.
Well, so the Twitter account for Killer Queen,
the
devs of Killer Queen, recently changed all of their like logos to be black. So it seems like it's real. Also, what a completely random thing to just make up if it is fake.
Yeah, totally. I mean, the Killer Queen has a lot of like buzz around it, but it's not a game in wide release. You know, we live in LA. There's no arcade around here that has it. Like we would have to go up to like San Francisco or something to play it. There are only like 30 of these games in the United States. And maybe now it'll just be on all of our Switches.
I think it's going to be. I mean, I'm totally on the hype train, but I think it's going to be a cool, interesting E3.
Yeah, no, me too.
Okay, all right, everybody take a deep breath.
Can I do this one?
Please.
Oh my God. Pocket Rumble will be out on the Switch by the end of July.
I will not believe it.
You will not believe it until you see it.
Until it is actually released. Even when it hits the coming soon section with an estimated release date, I will not believe it.
Look, this game could be out tomorrow. All they have said, so Cardboard Robot Games shared an update on the game's Kickstarter page on Monday, apologizing for the delay, and they said that the Switch version is now complete. All they have to do is select a release date and put it out. So sometime between now and the end of July. So it could be out right now. Go check your Switch and see if Pocket Rumble is out. It might be.
I'm skeptical.
Mark, it might be.
I'm skeptical.
It might be out. And the game is already out in like early access on Steam. And once the Switch version is actually out, then they're going to go about updating the Steam version, and hopefully we get some of those updates on Switch as well.
Related, Wargroove, the Fire Emblem Advanced Wars like game that was shown off in the same Nindy showcase as Pocket Rumble, which is over a year now.
Yep.
Is evidently still chugging away. The development team posted a new update on their blog about naval combat. It all looks very cool, and the sprite work is real nice. But again,
when are we going to play this game? When are we going to play this game?
A Splatoon 2 World Championship t-shirt will be available in-game starting the evening of June 7th. It's an in-game shirt to celebrate something happening in the real world. That's pretty cool.
Yep, I like that a lot.
Nintendo's partner in the Quality of Life project, Panasonic, has reportedly withdrawn from the Quality of Life initiative. So that's kind of led to speculation that whatever Nintendo was working on
In the way of quality
in
of
the
life.
in the way of like quality of life, which if you'll remember is something we heard about like 8 years ago, something
Vitality
like that.
sensor time, right?
Right.
So basically the same time that we heard about Metroid Other M, that was the same E3, was Vitality Sensor and Other M.
So maybe that's dead. You know, who knows?
Who knows?
I mean, we never really knew what it was in the first place.
That's a great point.
But I guess Nintendo's stock dropped like 5% mysteriously, and so
some
this
are
is
attributing
maybe
that.
being like attributed to that.
But didn't Nintendo stock also get like a boost a couple days before that from the Nintendo or
From like the Pokemon thing?
Yeah.
Yes.
So maybe this is just the market like correcting from that. Yeah.
Absolutely. Mega Man 11 Amiibo Edition has been announced for North America and Japan. It's a GameStop exclusive, $60. Regular editions of the game are just $30. Comes with the physical version of the game and a new Mega Man amiibo.
Who looks nice.
Dr. Wily adhesive patch, 4 sets of stickers, and a stage select microfiber cloth.
So I was trying to figure out what adhesive patch is. What do you think that is? What do you think an adhesive patch is? That like a window decal?
No, I'm guessing that it is like, you know, the patches that people put on their backpacks and stuff. I'm wondering if it's something like
they have sticky backs.
This is all pure speculation.
Right.
And so Capcom also confirmed that there will not be a Amiibo edition in Europe, and Mega Man 11 won't be getting a physical release there at all. It's just going to be a digital download.
Mega Man hates Europe.
Did you know that Super Mario Odyssey continues to put out new costumes?
Mark, I did.
On Wednesday, Nintendo released a cool new racing helmet and racing outfit. There's a quite. I'm trying to think how I could have finished that sentence grammatically correct. I don't think it's possible. It's impossible. Okay, there's a few more costumes that had been previously leaked from like data miners that haven't been released yet. So
maybe like who knows when these things are actually going to pop. It's weird that they're releasing them one at a time.
Yeah, it's like a slow, like endless trickle. But I guess again, it makes sense if you're like somebody who's trying to collect them all. It's just another reason to jump back into Mario Odyssey. Whereas if they released them all at once, you would just get them all.
You would just do it all then. I mean, the thing that's a little bit of that's like a little weird about it is that the way to collect these new costumes is just to spend more coins,
right?
And these are a lot of coins. It's like 5,000 for the outfit and 3,000 for the helmet, or the other way around. And like so you just have to farm 8,000 coins.
Yeah, that's true. It's not like there's like content that comes with it that like
right
would help you do something else while you're farming coins. It's kind of just wasting time in the game.
Yeah, and I mean, the most efficient way to farm coins at the moment is to play Luigi's Balloon World. That's just the fastest and like most fun way to get coins, and that is constantly new content because people are always making, they're always hiding balloons in all the kingdoms. So like, I don't know, just the fact that there is another carrot to chase is enticing and does make me. God, Odyssey was such a good game.
You think we're going to see some new kingdoms at E3?
I would love to see something meaty like a new kingdom at E3, or even if they were like, we put 10 new moons in every kingdom or something like that. That would make me very happy too.
Sonic Team Racing, the kart racer developed by Sumo Digital, was officially confirmed by Sega last week. A few weeks ago, a few weeks ago, we commented on rumors of some sort of Sonic racing game coming. There's no transformations, more limited roster, so it'll only have 15 characters and all from the Sonic universe. So no Danica Patrick.
No Samba de Amigo. Which is fine, I think, to just go like back to the basics and be like, look, the Sonic characters are notoriously fast, so why do we need? I suppose Danica Patrick is also notoriously fast, so my fault. Are you interested in another kart racer?
I
You got your Mario
don't
Kart.
really
Yeah.
care about kart racers that aren't Mario Kart.
Here's the thing. This has an adventure mode, like some sort of story mode racing component.
Yeah, because what's really going to bring me in is a Sonic
You love a Sonic story. By the way, my copy of Sonic Forces is still missing.
We had a conversation about this on Sunday when we were hanging out, though.
Yes.
We think there are lots of plausible reasons why it hasn't returned that is not.
No, that are either on someone else who did not borrow the game or possibly on me. Yeah, I am not. Well, I had always prepared myself for someone else's malicious intent. I do not believe that there is malicious intent behind my copy.
It's just one of many
going missing.
possibilities.
It's just one of many.
Finally, someone please alert previous NCS guest. I suppose we could do this. Richie Root. You can make a Jigglypuff at Build-A-Bear now.
Richie, go get a Jigglypuff from Build-A-Bear.
They can be purchased in store for $28 or as part of an online bundle for $52.
So part of the reason that we are pointing this one at Richie is he tried for a very long time to convince us that the best character in Super Smash Brothers was the Jigglypuff.
And I think Jigglypuff made it remarkably far.
Yes. Well, we are very accommodating guests. All right, Mark, that's all the news. We did it. We got through so much news. Let's get out of the news. And that is going to do it for this episode of Nintendo Cartridge Society. Please come back on Thursday. We are going to be determining who is the best Pokemon to start with in all the Pokemon games. It's a fun conversation, so come back for that. In the meantime, please rate, review, subscribe on Apple Podcasts. If you like the episode, please share it on Facebook or Twitter. I'm at Patrick_Ellers. Mark is at MKE Mitchell. Collectively, the show is at Nin Cart Society. The Facebook page is just Nintendo Cartridge Society. If you like our opinions, Mark and I write about comic books on retconpunch.com. Olivia Duncan made our logo. Our theme music is provided by 8-Bit Betty. You can get more 8-Bit Betty music on 8bitbetty.com, or you can listen right now. For my co-host, Mark Mitchell, this is Patrick Ellers saying, thanks for listening.
Campfire.